This is the second video that goes with our discussion about the introduction to our course. What I want to talk to you about right now is some of the unique aspects and the differences and the qualities regarding early intervention and early childhood special ed. So you're looking at a slide right now that gives us a little bit of a view of early intervention. Another way that we think of early intervention, the acronym I guess you'd say, is EI. This is a service provided to children and their families. The children are ages birth through 3. These children have been identified with delays or disabilities. So a referral from typically the family or the physician in the family goes to the Child and Family Connections in the area of Illinois that the family lives in. You can look online and see where all of the Child and Family Connections offices are located. You'll notice that birth to 3 services, early intervention, are not provided through the public school system. That is a major difference between EI and early childhood special ed. So a referral goes to Child and Family Connections. The awesome folks there review the information, contact the family, meet with the family and the child, and they do an initial evaluation. Now we know that our very young children aren't able to take a test, so to speak, like you might think of a K through 12 system assessment. So the initial evaluation at this level would include observations of this child, interviewing the parents, the family members, perhaps if this child is in a child care program, also interviewing those folks, asking questions about the child's development from that aspect or perspective. Then the team, the early intervention team, reviews the information they gathered from the evaluation along with the family, and they determine if the child qualifies for an IFSP. That's that middle rectangle you're looking at right now. That stands for, you might want to write this down, Individualized Family Service Plan. Individualized Family Service Plan. This plan is similar to an IEP for a child from 3 to 21, but this plan is very much focused on the family, and it is only for children ages birth through 3 who have been identified to have some delays or disabilities, as was decided by the evaluation team in the first step. The Individualized Family Service Plan includes the areas of concern that we have for the child and the steps or the methods or the approaches to providing support for that child and their family. We'll talk more about each one of these sections as we proceed through our semester. Then, if the child is provided with an IFSP, which they may not qualify for if their delays or disabilities are not identified, but if they are, and they have an IFSP, then we move over to the right. Services are provided by a variety of support folks in the natural environment. And in this case, the natural environment, and this is all determined and supported by the law, the natural environment for a child ages birth to 3 would be where? Think for a minute. Where are most children for babies, infants, and toddlers? Probably in the home, or perhaps in childcare during the day. But what we want to focus on is the natural environment that would include the family members, because our early intervention sessions with this child and their family will probably only last approximately an hour at the most per week. So what we're doing during those sessions is actually teaching, modeling for the family members how to do the interventions, the strategies with their child themselves. So we want the family to be involved in that very much so to be successful. So services in natural environment versus the school district services, right? So you want to be thinking about this, these differences. You have a task to do this week called EI ECSE Compare and Contrast. That's in your assignment tab, and the link is in your lesson 2 that we're working on right now. So you want to pull that up and get started gathering your thoughts regarding the differences or the similarities, compare and contrast. All right, That's early intervention for ages birth to 3. Let's look at early childhood special education, which is provided to ages 3 to 5 pre-kindergarten. So remember, I know we include age 5, but that's because many of the kids in a preschool setting turned 5 before their kindergarten year. Okay, so early childhood special education. In this case, referral is made to the school district. So depending on where that family lives, what school district they would be a part of, that's who the family member or someone supporting the family member would contact to ask for evaluation, to say that I have some concerns about the development of my child. I would like to have an evaluation. These evaluations and all of these services are provided at no cost to the family. So evaluations are provided once the child has been referred to the school district. A team there will review the information that was submitted and contact the parent again to schedule a full evaluation of the child that is being reviewed. This team will review the same areas of development as for birth to 3. They will look at speech and language, they will look at cognition, they will look at vision and hearing, they will look at physical development, gross and fine motor, they will look at social emotional skills, and they will determine through gathering information from observing the child, asking the child some questions, interviewing the parents, and interviewing perhaps other caregivers, they will determine whether or not this child has a delay in their development or a disability, which impacts their opportunities to learn and grow in a typical way compared to same-age children. We'll talk more about all this as we proceed this semester. This is not an assessment course. If you are interested in the assessment of young children, you want to look at SED 374. But right now we're talking about how we determine which children we are providing educational services to and how we decide what those services are. So if the team and the family determine that yes, that child does qualify for services, then the team with the parent develops an individualized education plan, and that's the IEP. That plan is a legal document just the same as the IFSP is for birth to 3. Once that plan is set into place, what everyone has signed must be provided to that child. So these may be a variety of services. We'll talk more about that later. It could be speech and language. It could be other motor development services, as well as classroom services or playgroup services. So we'll look at some IEPs and we'll get some ideas of how to provide services and what types of curriculum planning we would need to make happen for that child. The next step is that the services by law are provided in the least restrictive environment. And you know how we are in education. We love our acronyms, so we usually say LRE, least restrictive environment. These laws that we're talking about now for 3 to 5-year-olds, they apply to 3 to 21-year-old students in our school districts. So the least restrictive environment would be where the child is included as much as possible, depending on that child's needs, included with children same age peers who are typically developing. In this case, because we're talking about such young children, this may indeed be a community preschool or child care center, or it could be the public school system that offers a program for children ages 3 through 5. I want to mention that because we do not immediately assume that if a child qualifies for an IEP at this age, that they would go into a public school program or classroom. Services may be provided, IEP services may be provided in a variety of settings in the community, whatever is the least restrictive environment that's appropriate for that child in that particular community. So these are the things I wanted you to know as we kind of get an introduction to this course, an introduction to understanding very young children. And remember, these last 2 slides in this conversation connect very closely to your activity, EI/ECSE, compare and contrast, which is a document you will download, fill out. You will submit by the end of the week your current version of this document. You will also continue to add information to that document throughout our time together and submit it at different times when there are due dates. So this is the last lecture video for this lesson number 2. I look forward to having more conversations with you about this topic. Have a good day.